And please welcome Mr. Gary Hyland.
Well, as the cow said to the farmer in the cold winter morning, thanks for the warm hand. When Rod Laporte asked me to speak, I asked whether he wanted a lengthy dissertation or a pithy encapsulation. He thought I was swearing. But just like in the old days, he didn't understand what I was saying. Rod used to sit in front and he used to get this kind of glazed look. I think he's probably handy to him now in his profession. So I said to him, like I explained it to him so he could understand, I said, do you want a Gaylord-style speech or a Bonnie Harding speech? And that he seemed to understand. So we settled on a Debbie Arnold-style speech. Not too long, not too short. I asked him if he wanted me to read some. Oh, there's a mosquito after me. A lot of skin to attack here. You know what it's like for it, eh? He's not here at home. First Mr. when you need him. Anyways, I asked him if he wanted me to read some poems. And being a politician, he didn't say no. He just kind of gnarled his forehead up when I said, poems. He said, well, you know, they were just finished eating. So I thought I'd just recite a few hundred lines from Chaucer and sit down. Why not out of the shore stood the drought of March of pass to the root and bars of the evening was which liquor which hurt and gentle. Had enough? Speaking of Gaylord, I think he was the only person in the school who didn't quite make it up to the height, or pardon me, the only person in the school who almost made it as tall as Mr. Clark. You remember Mr. Don Clark, our reclusive guidance counselor, who used to look out in the hall every now and then? But he was very handy to have on the staff when we played with students in basketball or volleyball, because he'd be right at the net there, and we just feed it to him, he'd dunk it in without leaving the floor. Another thing we used to do when we played with students was hockey. Some of us had to play more pellets and hockey nights. And around one night a week, we used to get Blaine Bechtel out there. And we had a staff team that consisted of a lot of bruisers like Mr. Nimple. We used to get these fellas out that we couldn't touch in school. I got a picture of that hockey team here somewhere, Blaine, if you want to see the guys that used to do. We had very few teachers that could really skate, including me, so we used to recruit a few former students like Dave Maury to come back and help us out. One thing I've learned is never to try to predict how your students are going to turn out after high school. When I find out talking to people here what they're doing, you know, and that Randy Pangborn might be going through my income tax next week. I mean, he used to look like a little angel in high school. He had a face like a cherub. And he was so innocent looking. And now he's menacing my tax return. I mean, some people are even surprised that Rod Laporte went into politics. I have to admit to you that did not surprise me too much. I knew he was well equipped for the House of Commons when one day we were having a debate in class and he said, you know, I've got half a mind to be a politician.
You asked him to come. That's a little warm by shirt.
I got the mosquito rod, so I'm not going to anything. Another thing that told me Rod was going to go into politics was when he was a grocery clerk or stock clerk at the Co-op. And I knew from what happened there that he'd always be able to cover himself when he made mistakes. Of course, that's something politicians are prone to do. What happened was, a fellow came in, must have been on the budget, probably a farmer, and he asked for half a cabbage. Now, Rod thought this was pretty bad. That was funny. But he was also annoyed at the guy because he didn't know how to deal with this. So I said, just a minute, sir. And he went to the back of the store, around the corner, and what he didn't know was that the guy was following him. So when Rod got around the corner, he was talking to the foreman, and he said, you know, there's an idiot out there who wants me to cut a cabbage in half because he wants to buy half the cabbage. And then Rod turned around and saw the guy. And he said, oh, and here's a gentleman who's going to take the other half. And do you believe Jim Matulowicz, the lawyer? I mean, Jim was sharp enough and everything, don't get me wrong. Just he had a lot of trouble getting to school on time. Like, I understand he even got to this thing late. But even then, there are these kind of telltale signs that Jim might be able to fudge the facts enough to be a lawyer. I remember one time hearing him arguing with Mr. Hinter about being late. And he was saying, like, well, I'm not late, you know. I just changed the order of things and took my break before coming to school. These lawyers. As an English teacher and a writer, I worry about what lawyers do to the English language, you know. You ever read anything they drew up for you in their offices? Tried to read it? Like you or I would hand somebody an orange and we say, here's an orange. But what would the lawyers say? Something like this. I give you all, and singularly, my right, title, and claim in this orange, with its rind, skin, juice, pulp, and pips, and all rights and advantages therein, with full power to bite, suck, or otherwise ingest same, or give the same away, with or without aforesaid rind, skin, juice, pulp, and pips. Anything heretofore or hereinafter, or in any deeds or instruments of whatever kind or nature to the contrary, in any wise notwithstanding. Do they teach them that? How do they learn to talk like that? And then there's the people here who are in education. Now obviously, we didn't turn everybody off of school. We tried. Gil Wist is now going to be a phys ed consultant. And he tells me he's given up wrestling, but just wait, Bill, till you see what those administrators' meetings are like. And can you imagine Rod Richardson as the principal? Do you remember what he was like in high school? I can remember just trying to get him to sit down for a while. I used to say, my favorite word was perch, Ron, you know, to be so funny. And now he's running the school with pupils in it and everything. So we got Rod and Gil, and I think Lisa Letts did some teaching for a while, even at university, and John Majewski, and you probably remember Bob Simona. He's still teaching here in Moose Jaw at Guidance at Central Collegiate. I don't know why the students at Central Collegiate need the guidance, they've already got the money. And then his wife, Linda Gamble, teaches at Empire. And David Kennedy came back and was vice principal at Riverview for a time. And right now we have another teacher on staff, Todd Searcy, who went there in '81. So we must be doing something right. And of course, while you were there, we were training all the principals for the other schools because Mr. Stewart, do any of you remember Gord Stewart?
Mm-hmm.
Went to have him from Apple. He's over at Central there, which, you know, again, I wonder why they need a principal if that school. The kids are so good. Which must be very boring. At least, you know, South Hill kids made our school interesting, and that's why I'm staying there. And then we've got Walt Yakuchuk. Some of you probably had him for phys ed or football coach. And he's at Peacock as a principal. And Ken Bradley, of course, he was there for some of the time too, boys phys ed. He's doing what Gil's going to be doing, coordinating the phys ed program here in Moose Jaw. Now, I came in today and I heard people saying, look, you haven't changed a bit. How many times have you heard that already? You know, here. I wonder what that really means. Like, does it mean that we really haven't changed, that we're all just getting old at the same rate, and so it looks okay to me. I mean, it did bother me just a little bit when somebody said to me over at the school this afternoon, "You look just like you used to, Mr. Davies." You know, the hair is not where it used to be. There's not as much of it. But whenever I think about it, or see a mirror drawing angle, or see myself in a film somewhere, I always think of Mr. Nipple. They wrote a book about Mr. Nipple's head. It's called The Shining. But you know, it helps to admit that you're getting old. Although I feel kind of left out because I feel like I'm part of the generation where when I was a kid, nobody respected kids. Now that I'm getting old, nobody respects old people. Somewhere in there has to be a happy medium. I hope you people are in it. But I mean, I'm from the generation of when somebody said they were gay, it was okay. You know, they were just happy. But now, like, I go to bed, takes half hour to undress, half hour to figure out why I'm undressed. You know, it all starts to burn around 8 o'clock. Join the health club, I'm too tired to go. But I figured out that there are 3 secrets to staying young, for those of you who are still into staying young. You want to hear them? I knew Victor would. Number 1, live honestly. Now, for some people in certain professions. Number 2, eat slowly. And number 3, lie about your age. People are always asking me if the kids have changed. And I say, well, a lot of superficial things have changed. Slang, the way they dress. But I don't think the kids have changed that much. I think, though, that school has changed a little bit. Don't have things like reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's, and we're with 3 M's. Meeting, mating, and multiplying. They're just a little bit more open about their interest in the opposite sex.